What happens to Murd rers souls at 3 a.m.? Shocking truth about evil afterlife revealed, the witching hour. It's the most sinister time of the night. Under the inky black sky, something awakens, something dark. At exactly 3 a.m., many believe the souls of the damned rise from their eternal prisons. Just imagine, the air thick with dread, as chilling whispers creep through the shadows. In that eerie silence, hearts race, fears ignite. Murd rers souls, they wander the streets, restless and tormented. What do they seek? Redemption? Revenge? Or is it just the thrill of haunting the living? The very people who dare to breathe the same air? This isn't just superstition. There are countless tales of people who swore they felt a presence, a cold draft that licked at their skin like a predatory beast, bricks trembling beneath feet as the weight of a wronged spirit shifted near. Local legends tell of shadows darting just out of sight, always watching, always waiting. One chilling story claimed that at 3 a.m., the mirrors in abandoned houses reflected visions of the past, showing the final moments of those who met violent ends. And yes, the blood still lingered, red and raw, in the frame of their demise. That a woman once named Clara felt an icy rush wash over her as she stood in front of an old cracked mirror. Just as she turned to leave, a scream sliced through the night. She froze, hair standing on end, as her own reflection morphed into a face twisted in agony, its eyes pleading. What was that? Just a trick of the light? Or something oh so much darker? Her breath hitched, chest tight as she stumbled back, feeling a darkness press against her. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button. It really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. So, if you ever hear those soft whispers calling to you at that hour, know that it's not your imagination. It's the echoes of the past. It's a chilling reminder that some souls can never really escape their fateful choices. But what happens when they confront the living? Do they bring warnings? Curses? Or do they simply relive their nightmare, dragging others down with them to the depths of sorrow? There's one story about a boy named Ethan who lives on the edge of town, a stone's throw from the old cemetery. He swore that every night at 3 a.m., he heard faint sobbing from the ground below. What could it be? Was it just the wind, or was something deep beneath reaching out, crying out for help or revenge? His curiosity gnawed at him, yet terror rooted him to his bed, heart thumping, pulse racing. And he wondered, would he dare to uncover the truth, or would he too succumb to the darkness that loomed, waiting, ever so patiently for another soul? Ethan lay awake, staring at the ceiling, the darkness wrapping around him like a heavy blanket. Each tick of the clock bellowed loudly through the silence, the hands moving toward 3. His heart raced at the thought of what lay ahead. Common sense screamed at him to just turn over and sleep, but the haunting cries tugged insistently at his curiosity. He could still hear them, a faint, plaintive sobbing, rising and falling like the tide. Who, or what was calling out from beneath the earth? Could he really ignore it? This time, he had to know. Summoning every ounce of courage, he swung his legs over the side of his bed, the wood floor cold beneath his bare feet. Taking a deep breath, he paused. The last remnants of comfort replaced by a foreboding chill. He gripped the edge of his mattress and listened. The sobbing persisted. It pulsed with a raw, aching desperation, mingling with the petrifying silence of the night. Outside, the moon bathed the neighborhood in eerie light, shadows stretching long and thin, movements just a flicker in his periphery. Ethan closed his eyes, envisioning the cemetery, the overgrown grass, the crooked gravestones, the memories trapped beneath. What waits for him out there? With hesitant steps, he crept to the window, pulling back the curtain. The cemetery loomed in the distance, whispering dark secrets as the wind rustled the leaves along the path leading toward it. Something compelled him forward, the sobbing no longer a mere sound but a call to action. That he slipped into a jacket, his heart a war drum in his chest. The door creaked as he stepped into the cool night air, and he felt it an undercurrent of dread wrapping around him. The sobs gained clarity, almost guiding him, as he trudged through the damp grass, each blade wet and heavy with dew. Each step toward the cemetery echoed with a sense of urgency and feared as he reached the wrought iron gate. It swung open with a groan, a welcome from the dark beyond. Ethan hardly noticed as chills danced along his spine, instinct pushing him to go deeper. The sobbing grew louder, filling his ears, reverberating in his bones. It beckoned him, lured him like a moth to a flame, promising relief from whatever anguish it held. But when he reached the center of the cemetery, the sobs transformed into whispers, circling him, twisting around his thoughts. "Help me, please." Time had no meaning here. Fear clawed at his throat, pressing down like a fist. Panic coursed through him as he looked around, searching the night for the source. But what he found was a lone gravestone, weathered and cracked. The name written on it sent his blood running cold. Clara Thompson. A powerful jolt of recognition struck him. Her story, the mirror. Was this her restless spirit, trapped in torment? Just as he registered the name, an icy gust blew through the cemetery, carrying a whisper that sent shivers down his spine. "Ethan," he stumbled back, heart racing. How did it know his name? What did it want from him? As darkness pooled around him, he realized he was not merely a witness anymore. He had been summoned. Desperation clawed at him like nails on wood, pushing him to turn and flee. But dread rooted him in place, as shadows began to rise from the graves, drifting towards him, each one whispering a name, a story, a pain. And then, he heard it again, the desperate sobbing, now urgent and insistent. Would he find the strength to confront this darkness? Or would he become its next victim, swallowed by the very souls that sought resolution in their eternal night? As he stood frozen between fear and resolve, the earth beneath him trembled softly, and something sinister lurked in the shadows. The moment had come, but would he stand his ground, or had he already sealed his fate? Ethan's breath quickened, each inhalation sharp with panic. The whispers enveloped him, a cacophony of sorrow threading through the cool night air. They curled around him like vines, each syllable resonating with a pain he could feel deep in his bones. He couldn't breathe. Their suffering pierced through his chest, squeezing his heart with invisible hands. "Help me." The plea cut through the darkness, urgent and relentless, igniting a flicker of resolve within him. Why had he come? Was he here to help a spirit, to soothe their restless soul? Or was he merely a pawn in something far more sinister? He could almost feel Clara's spirit brushing past him, a cold wind that sent goosebumps rippling along his arms. Trembling, he stepped closer to the gravestone, a flickering lamp illuminating the etched name barely visible in the dim light. Clara Thompson. He reached out, the intention simmering within him, colliding with a new rush of dread. As his fingers grazed the stone's surface, a vision seized him, a flicker of memories swirling like smoke that he saw Clara, just a girl, laughing in the sunlight. Then darkness descended, drowning her in shadows. He saw her eyes, wide and terrified, trapped in a nightmare he could barely grasp. "You have to help them," she whispered, her voice ghostly yet firm. "Help who?" The air thickened around him, shadows pooling at his feet like oil. Ethan fought against the urge to flee. "What do you want from me?" he called out, his voice quaking, fighting to be heard over the whispering phantoms. Suddenly, the laughter of children echoed through the cemetery, taunting him. The sound sent a jolt of fear through his veins. Then, without warning, a piercing scream shattered the illusion, reverberating around him. "Help us! We didn't know! We didn't know!" came the frantic cries, melding into the sobbing once more. Ethan staggered back, the weight of their collective despair nearly crushing him. He gripped Clara's tombstone tighter. "What do you mean? Help you with what?" He was baring his soul. He needed answers. That a final gust of wind swirled around him, and then silence fell heavily. The shadows hung, hesitating, before retreating slightly, drawing back like the tide. An emptiness blossomed, leaving Ethan almost hopeful, like a distant lullaby. But just as quickly, a gut-wrenching groan bubbled up from the earth. "Find the truth." The mirror, came countless voices, drowning in an anguished chorus. The ground trembled again beneath his feet, and he swayed, clutching at the gravestone for support. It felt alive, pulsing with the very energy of grief. The mirror. He remembered the tales. Whispers of a mirror that revealed the darkest secrets of one's soul, held in a crypt long forgotten. But wasn't that what had happened to Clara? The stories twisted in his mind. Had the mirror betrayed her? You're not safe. You have to run. A stronger voice pierced through, enveloping him as the shadows waned away, revealing patches of moonlight. Just then, a chill cut through the air, and a figure stepped forward from the darkness. A woman, ethereal and translucent, her features almost familiar. Ethan, you must understand. They're all connected, Clara. This place, the truth, is lurking in the dark. Panic surged inside him as he attempted to comprehend the chaos. The very ground beneath him shifted, molehills of earth rising and falling, shifting like the waves of the ocean. Each wave came with a whisper, voices pulling him under, red-hot and desperate that he looked around, searching for an exit, but the cemetery stretched endlessly before him, filled with the echoes of the lost souls. Where could he run? Find it, she urged, pressing forward, reaching out for him. You must face the truth or be consumed by it. With that, she vanished, leaving behind nothing but a lingering chill. Clasping his chest, Ethan felt every heartbeat echo with the realization he was both hunter and prey. Would he heed their calls, risking everything to unearth the grave secret buried within the mirror? Determination flared in his chest as he stepped back, gazing at the gravestones stretching into darkness. His path was uncertain, but one thing was clear. He couldn't leave, not until he unraveled the mystery. What waited for him in the shadows? Was the truth worth the risk, or would he find himself trapped in a desperate dance with the very souls he sought to help? The night deepened, stretching out like a cold hand, ready to snatch him away forever. Ethan's heart raced as he stood alone in the cemetery, the weight of countless whispers pulling him deeper into despair. The shadows carved their own ominous paths through the graveyard, and each fleeting breeze felt like a ghost sliding by, carrying tales of sorrow and haunting memories. Where is it? He muttered, glancing around at the gravestones, each bearing silent witness to the lost and forgotten. The air thickened with a sense of urgency, as if every broken spirit was urging him to seek out the truth. He turned, scanning the surroundings for any sign of the crypt, the one housing the mirror that held the answers. The woman's warning echoed in his mind. The truth is lurking. A chill crept up his spine, and he shivered despite the warmth of his breath forming clouds in the cold night air. He had to move. He was standing in a cemetery brimming with despair, and the souls tethered to their graves wanted liberation not just for themselves, but for something greater. Suddenly, another voice broke through the chaos. Ethan. A tall figure emerged from the shadows. Max, his childhood friend. What are you doing here? Ethan gasped, relief and confusion mingling in his chest. Max looked fraught, glancing nervously at the gravestones. I thought I heard you calling out. You need to leave. It's not safe here. I can't. Ethan shouted, desperate. They're trapped, Max. I have to find the mirror. Max stepped forward, gripping Ethan's shoulder. No, you don't understand. You're putting yourself in danger. I've heard the stories. The mirror doesn't show just the truth, it reveals your darkest fears. What do you think happened to Clara? The mention of Clara sent a hollow ache through Ethan. It was all linked, woven together by threads of horror and betrayal. I need to know. I have to uncover the truth. Max's eyes widened with warning. But at what cost? What if you're not ready to see what's inside? There's no choice. The ground trembled again beneath them, a distant rumble rising in tempo, like a warning growl from the earth itself. Listen, Max's voice quivered, the worry transforming into urgency. If you're determined to go, I'll help you. But we need to stick together. The cemetery holds secrets that could tear you apart. They took off deeper into the graveyard, the shadows stretching longer, the whispers seeping closer. Ethan felt the air electrify with a panic as they approached the dilapidated crypt that loomed on the far side, its doors slightly ajar, beckoning like a gaping mouth. Is this it? Ethan breathed, fixated on the crypt's dark entrance. Max hesitated. We need to be careful. Whatever is in there is waiting for you. As they stepped inside, the temperature plummeted. Cobwebs brushed against them like ghostly fingers, and the damp aroma of decay filled their nostrils. Ethan's heart hammered. He could feel the weight of unseen eyes, watching from the shadows. Would the mirror whisper secrets of Clara's fate? Every step forward felt like entering a spiral of dread. The air crackled, resistance rising against the pull of the truth. "Ethan," Max whispered, an edge creeping into his voice. "Are you ready for this?" Ethan nodded, though doubt clung to him like a shroud. He had to see. Just then, the flickering light from their flashlights caught something glinting in the corner. The infamous mirror. It stood poised against the wall, shrouded in a thin veil of dust. Ethan froze, captivated by the beckoning reflection. What dark truths would it show him? Suddenly, a sinister crack broke the silence, and a shadow darted across the wall. "Run!" Max screamed, but it was too late. A figure lunged at them from the depths of darkness, manifesting from the very shadows they sought to confront. Ethan stumbled backward, staring in disbelief. Who had they awakened? "Whatever happens, don't look into the mirror," Max shouted, terror pulling his features taut as the figure closed in. The air thickened. Something ancient and perilous was unraveling before him. Ethan was caught between his fears and the truth that awaited him. What price would he pay for? Knowledge. And as he prepared to confront whatever lay ahead, a chilling question lingered in his mind. Would he emerge unscathed, or become yet another lost spirit entrapped in the cemetery's sorrowful embrace? Ethan's breath caught in his throat. The figure, obscured by darkness, lunged toward them, its movements fluid and unnatural. Time stretched as he felt Max's grip tighten on his arm, pulling him back. "Don't just stand there. Move." Max's voice rang with panic, snapping Ethan into action. They darted across the crypt, pushing past tombstones that loomed in the murky corners like silent witnesses to their terror. The air shivered with malevolence, each gust laced with whispers, mocking their escape. Ethan could feel the encroaching darkness, a sentient force trailing them. It was hungry. "Where's the exit?" Ethan shouted, stumbling as they ducked under a low beam. The shadows seemed to pulse with every heartbeat, every breath clawing at his sanity. "Just ahead," Max pointed as they approached a rusty arch leading back to the graveyard, a beacon of hope in an ocean of despair. Ethan's pulse quickened, but dread clung to him like a vine, squeezing tighter as the figure loomed ever closer. "Ethan," Max cried, fear etched in the lines of his face. "We have to face it. We can't just run." Ethan's mind raced. The mirror. It was just behind them, waiting. What if I look into it? What if the truth really is in there? He whispered, less to Max and more to himself, that a low growl arose from the shadows, vibrating through the air. "Do not seek the truth, boy." The figure's voice rasped, dripping with malice. "It will devour you whole." With terror stealing his breath, Ethan felt the familiar weight of Clara's loss creeping in, tightening its grip around his heart. This wasn't just about him. It was about her, about freeing her soul. "I have to know. I have to set her free," Ethan yelled, pulling away from Max's grasp to face the nightmare. The crypt's shadowy figure coiled and flickered, like smoke twisting in the dark. "Ethan, wait," Max shouted, but Ethan was already moving, heart pounding, as he approached the mirror. It shimmered, its surface swirling with a sickly glow, reflecting not just his image but the despair buried deep within him. He hesitated, battling the dread rising within. "What am I afraid of?" he said softly, almost a plea to the abyss. And then, the mist parted, revealing a vision. Clara's face floated before him, her eyes pleading, trapped in shades of sorrow. "Ethan, help," she whispered, her voice echoing like a fading memory. But the darkness behind him roared, a guttural sound that shattered his focus. The figure surged forward, its form now distinguishable, a twisted mockery of humanity, all jagged edges and soulless eyes. "Look away. Do not listen," the apparition bellowed, its command an assault against Ethan's sanity. "You are not strong enough." Ethan's hands trembled, and the world around him faded, leaving only the need to liberate Clara. He had to understand the depths of her suffering, to touch the truth buried beneath the layers of grief and loss. "Face it, Ethan," Max shouted again, his voice blending with the overpowering whispers. "You can't let it pull you in." Ethan cast one last glance at the mirror. Clara's face faded, swallowed by the surge of darkness threatening to consume everything. The mirror shows more than just the truth. The shadow snarled, now mere inches from him. It shows who you really are. With a final surge of adrenaline, he closed his eyes, turned his back to the mirror, and yelled, "I choose to fight." Suddenly, the crypt trembled violently, as if protesting his decision. Expecting the worst, Ethan stumbled, flinging himself against the door. Would the truth asset him, or would the shadow claim another soul? "Ethan!" Max's voice broke through the urgency contrasting with the chaos surrounding them. "We need to get out now?" The aura of the crypt roared, and the figure loomed, a menacing specter ready to strike. Adrenaline raced through Ethan as time warped around him. They were trapped, choices dwindling, and an ultimatum morphed before his eyes. If the truth could set Clara free, they must seize it, but at what cost? As the doorway cracked open beneath their desperate push, a chilling whisper slithered through the air. "You cannot escape the truth," and in that dark moment, Ethan realized some truths come with a price too dear to pay. With Max by his side, they crossed the threshold back into the night, both alive but forever changed, the cemetery behind them still whispering of secrets yet to be uncovered. What lay beyond the reflection of the mirror? And more frighteningly, what awaited them now that they had left? The cold air outside the crypt hit Ethan like a slap to the face. The world felt different, too still, too quiet. He swallowed hard, his heart still racing as desperation clung to him. Did we lose it? Max's breath came out in sharp gasps, eyes darting around the graveyard, as if expecting the shadowed figure to appear from thin air. "I don't know," Ethan stammered, pulling at the collar of his jacket, a futile attempt to ward off the chill creeping under his skin. "But we can't stay here." They hurried away from the crypt, the weight of what just happened still hanging over them like a thick fog. Ethan felt a mixture of exhilaration and terror. They had escaped, but not unscathed. Clara's face, her haunting plea was burned into his mind. "Did you really think looking into the mirror would help?" Max's voice trembled with disbelief. "That thing wasn't he going to show you anything but despair. It wasn't he just about me. It was about Clara." Ethan shot back, his voice rising. He ran a hand through his hair, frustration boiling over. "I felt something, Max, a connection. She needs me. I have to find a way to save her." Max's expression softened, concern taking over. "I get it, but we can't risk it again. We don't even know what that thing really is." Silence fell around them, wrapping tighter with each passing moment. The cemetery spread before them, a maze of shadows and memories, each grave a whisper of lives once lived. Ethan's eyes trailed over the headstones, and an unsettling thought brewed in the back of his mind. "Where does the light go?" he murmured, more to himself than to Max. "What?" Max asked, frowning. "The souls if we die here. If we become like that thing," Ethan began, the dread pooling in his gut. "Where do they go? What happens to them?" Max shrugged, his brows furrowed. "I don't know, and I don't want to find out." But the question gnawed at Ethan like a ravenous beast. He felt drawn to this mystery, a compulsion pulling him closer to the answers buried in dirt and darkness. "We have to figure this out, Max. There's something in this place we aren't seeing." Max stepped closer, voice low, eyes wide. "You're not serious. You can't go back in there. It's not worth it." Ethan's mind raced. He glimpsed the path leading back to the crypt, each step heavier with the weight of the truth. But what if that thing has the answers? What if I don't know? What if Clara's soul is trapped by something we can unravel? Max's face tightened. What if you're wrong? What if it's a trap? You could endanger yourself, or worse. A low rumble echoed from the crypt, sending a shiver down Ethan's spine. He froze, eyes wide as he glanced back. The air seemed to shift, dread seeping into his bones. "Let us just go," Max urged, gripping Ethan's arm tightly. "We can find help, figure this out later." Ethan wrestled with the decision, heart pounding in his chest. The darkness was calling to him, a promise wrapped in danger. But could he really leave Clara behind? No. He shook his head, the determination setting his features like stone. "I want to abandon her. Not again." With that, Ethan broke the hold of Max's arm and marched decisively toward the crypt. Max shouted after him, but the sound barely registered as Ethan pushed through the rusty arch again. Each step into the crypt felt heavier, shadows closing in, thick and suffocating. It was now or never. He had to uncover what lay hidden, even if it meant facing the tainted shadow once more. Inside, the atmosphere crackled with tension, the flickering light of the dying candles casting long shadows across the walls. Ethan. Max's voice was strained, but he knew this was a path he had to take. He had to confront the darkness both outside and within. The mirror stood waiting, its surface gleaming irregularly in the dim light. As he stepped closer, a flicker of movement caught his eye. The figure from before materialized within the corner, observing silently. "What do you really want?" Ethan demanded, his voice steady yet quaking. Its jagged form shifted, a hollow laugh emanating from the shadows. "To show you what lies beneath. The truth you want to be able to face it. But you will try." As Ethan prepared to turn back to the mirror, a sinking feeling gripped him, a realization dawning like the sun through storm clouds. If he dared to confront the truth, would it set Clara free? Or would it only bind him into eternal darkness, a shadow alongside her? The figure stepped closer, now just a breath away. "Your choice is made. Will you turn the key to your own damnation or salvation?" And in that moment, Ethan didn't know which would come first. Ethan's heartbeat thundered in his ears. The figure's voice hung in the air, thick with the promise of darkness. "Will you turn the key to your own damnation or salvation?" It wasn't just words. It was a challenge that cut through the haze of fear and uncertainty. He took a deep breath, steeling himself. "What do you know about Clara?" The shadow twitched, its jagged edges writhing like smoke. "More than you know. She is tied to this place, to you. To the choices you've both made." With a jolt, Ethan stepped back. "What choices? We haven't done anything." Panic edged his voice, twisting his stomach. He could feel Max hovering behind him, anxiety radiating off him like heat from a flame. The figure droned, "but choices are like shadows. They linger long after the light fades." Ethan felt anger boiling inside him. He wasn't going to let this thing toy with him anymore. "Just tell me how to save her." The shadow shifted, taking a more solid form, the face eerily familiar. It was a distorted representation of Clara, her features blurring into strands of darkness. "You think you can just rescue her without knowing the truth? Stop!" Ethan shouted, fists clenched. He felt the terror clenching around his heart, wrapping tighter with every moment. "You don't get to play with our lives." The laughter from the figure echoed off the walls, cold and heartless. "Then you must face what you refuse to see. The mirror is not just a reflection, it's a gateway. Look deeply, Ethan. Revealing the truth comes at a price." "Show me," he demanded, desperation sharpening his voice. "I need to know." "Very well," it hissed, and Ethan felt a surge of energy pulse through the room. The air thickened, smothering him. He could barely breathe as the mirror's surface rippled hypnotically, reality warped around him. The crypt faded, replaced by glimpses of a past he never wanted to relive. He saw Clara laughing, their carefree days spinning in vibrant colors. Then shadows crept in, swirling around, staining the joy. There were whispers, accusations, truths he wasn't ready to confront. His heart raced as Clara's laughter turned to cries of despair, echoes of moments when he had failed to protect her. "No." This isn't suddenly. The scene shattered, replaced by a hellish landscape. Souls screamed as they were pulled into swirling darkness, trapped in their own pain. The echo of his own voice resounded in the void. "Where are we? What happens to us?" "Only you can decide," the figure growled, its eyes glinting with malice. "Embrace the truth. Face your demons, or become one yourself." Ethan stumbled back, overwhelmed. I can't do this." But something within him ignited a deep-rooted determination. "I want to let you take her." He stepped closer to the mirror, his hand hovering just above its surface. As he reached out, a blinding light flared from the depths of the mirror, momentarily casting away the shadows. "Embrace it, Ethan," the figure bellowed, its voice now high and shrilled. He felt a pang of doubt, but the thought of Clara, crying out for help, fueled his resolve. If he didn't act now, she would remain lost, a flickering wisp of sorrow forever haunted by the dark. Just then, Max's voice echoed in his mind. "Ethan, don't. You don't know what you're letting in." But this was it. The moment of truth, the crossroads of fate, where light met darkness. With gritted teeth, Ethan plunged his hand into the mirror, the sensation wrapping around him like icy. As he stepped through, the world exploded into chaos. The bitter cold stung his senses as he was engulfed by blinding light. He wasn't just stepping into the truth. He was stepping uninvited into realms unseen. What have you done? The figure's scream reverberated in the surrounding void, filled with anguish and rage. Ethan was no longer sure if he was escaping, or if he had just unwittingly opened a door that could not be closed. And then, the world went black. What waited for him on the other side, Ethan could only imagine and dread. Ethan gasped as the darkness enveloped him, pressing in on all sides. It felt as though he was being swallowed by an infinite void. Cold seeped into his bones, a chilling reminder of his vulnerability. Thoughts spiraled in his mind, Clara's face flickering before him, her smile transforming into a haunting reflection of fear. As the shadows crackled around him, his senses sharpened. He could hear whispers, sharp as knives, slicing through the silence. They echoed around him, weaving a chorus of despair. "Help me, please." The voice seemed to come from nowhere, but he knew it was Clara, reaching out through the depths of the abyss. "Clara!" Ethan shouted, his voice swallowed by the dark. Panic clawed at his throat. Suddenly, a shimmering light pierced the void, illuminating a path before him. It danced like fireflies, beckoning him to move forward. He willed his legs to act, propelling himself through the oppressive darkness. Each step felt like wading through syrup, slow and thick. Then, as suddenly as the light appeared, it flickered out. Ethan stumbled, crashing to the ground as shadows surged around him. The whispers intensified, morphing into cries, shrieks of pain collectively rising from lost souls trapped in agony. It was a cacophony that clawed at his ears, forcing memories of Clara's laughter to fade in the chaos. Ethan squeezed his eyes shut, the noise overwhelming him. "Clara, I'm coming for you," he yelled, struggling to maintain his grip on hope. He opened his eyes only to be met with the sinister visage of the shadowy figure, the one who had conjured him into this nightmare. Its form twisted, skin writhing like liquid darkness. "You think you can save her?" It hissed, words dripping with mockery. "You are but a pawn in this game, Ethan." "Shut up." He pushed himself up, the cold seeping into his palms. He could feel his resolve hardening, igniting the fire within him. "I will find her, and I will bring her back." The figure laughed, the sound a sinister melody that echoed in his chest. "You think courage will save you? There are truths here that you cannot fathom, shadows that will consume you." Just then, he was surrounded by spectral images, moments of his past with Clara flashing before him. They were perfect snapshots tinged with despair, her laughter, their shared dreams. Love blossomed under the sun. But they twisted rapidly into darker memories, shadows of negligence, betrayal, and choices that haunted him like phantom chains. "No, I want to let this be our end." His voice wavered, but he fought against the tide of memories pulling him down. "What will you trade for the truth?" The figure's voice dripped with unsettling glee. "Would you sacrifice your own soul to save hers?" Ethan's heart pounded, the reality weighing on him. The thought slithered into his mind, taunting him. What if Clara's freedom demanded his own darkness be unleashed? "Think." Max's desperate warnings echoed in his head. "Is it worth losing yourself?" But as he glanced into the abyss, Clara's image flickered one last time, a desperate plea for salvation igniting his spirit. "I'll do anything," he shouted, his heartbeat synchronizing with the dark energy around him. In that moment, the void rippled, and a door materialized, a pale light silhouetting the figure, an unsettling contrast to the chaos swirling behind. "Then step forward," Ethan it crooned, delighting in the power it held over him. "Step into your chosen darkness and reclaim that which you've lost." Ethan hesitated, his whole body quaking under the weight of the choice flashing before him. What awaited him in that light? Would it be salvation or damnation? Drawing a deep breath, he pushed aside the shadows of doubt. And in one swift motion, he stepped forward, his heart hammering in his chest, bracing himself for whatever lay beyond the threshold. As he crossed the line, one question hovered in his mind, whispering like the ghosts around him. Was this truly the path to saving Clara, or the beginning of a nightmare he might never escape? The moment Ethan stepped into the light, a wave of heat washed over him, pushing back the suffocating darkness. It felt alive, crackling with energy and power, igniting the pieces of his resolve. His surroundings transformed instantly. No longer was he in a void of despair, but in a cavernous space filled with swirling mist and glimmering dust, the air thick with tension. "Welcome," the shadowy figure said, its voice echoing as if multiple voices spoke in unison. "Welcome to the realm of trade, where all sacrifices are measured." Ethan looked around, trying to comprehend the implications of where he was. Towers of shimmering light stood like sentinels, and strange creatures flitted in and out of sight. Here, hope battled despair, and every breath felt heavier with every heartbeat. "What do you want?" he shouted, anger lacing his words. "Just show me Clara." The figure chuckled, a sound that sent chills through Ethan's spine. "Desire manifests here in many forms, Ethan. But your urgency is amusing and tells me much." Shadows whispered at the edges of his vision, stories of other souls trapped, others who had lost their way. He could almost taste the bitterness of their regret, each footfall echoing like a reminder of choices gone wrong. "What do you mean?" Ethan asked, fists clenched. "I don't care about any soul, but Clara S. Ah, love. Such a powerful force, yet so easily twisted." The figure's face morphed into suggestive shapes, becoming more menacing with each fleeting moment. "To find her, you may have to abandon what you hold dear." Ethan felt a knot tighten in his gut. "No, I want to place my soul on the line for this." The figure seemed to grow larger, shadows pooling at its feet like hungry wolves. "Then her essence becomes one with the darkness. You wish to save her? You must confront the truth of your heart." Suddenly, a series of memories surged within him, vivid and sharp. He saw Clara crying as he turned away during their last fight, her trust shattering like glass as he chose ambition over love. The images flooded his mind, storming through his thoughts, washing over him like a tsunami of guilt and regret. "Your pain is real," the figure coaxed, relishing in his inner turmoil. "But it is also your answer. Give me your deep regret, and I will grant you passage to her." A sharp pang shot through Ethan's chest. To let go of his regrets meant confronting them head-on, admitting his faults. Did he have the strength to do so? The shadows lunged toward him, a frenzy of despair that pulled at his soul. He gasped, feeling as though he was being torn apart from within. "No," he yelled, struggling against the darkness. "I want to be damned because of my past." Yet the memory of Clara, reaching out for him, flickered in the edges of his mind. "Clara," he whispered, a glimmer of hope igniting among the despair. "Then decide," the figure urged. "Face your demons, or let your love be lost forever. Choose." Ethan's breath quickened. Fear wrapped around him like a vice. He was on the precipice of something profound, and the mere thought of letting Clara slip away was unbearable. But could he take that first step into his own darkness? The figure loomed closer, as shadows danced hungrily around Ethan's feet. Time is running out. With a surge of determination, Ethan squared his shoulders. It was now or never. He couldn't let fear dictate his choices any longer. "I'll face it," he shouted, firmness resonating in his voice. "I'll face my past for Clara." The air crackled and shimmered, and the ground trembled beneath him as a door of blinding light swung open. "Then enter," the shadow hissed, excitement threading its tone. "But know this. The truth you uncover may shatter your very being." Heart pounding, Ethan took a step toward the doorway, uncertainty swirling around him like a storm. What awaited behind that door? Would he find Clara, or would he unravel beneath the weight of his regrets and the darkness that had been unleashed? Ethan felt his heart race, the weight of impending revelations soaking his very spirit. He stepped forward, crossing into the light that tore through the darkness like a sword. The moment he did, everything changed. The air shimmered, crackling with energy, a blanket of warmth enveloping him. He was no longer standing in a shadowy void but in a vast, endless expanse lit by a glowing mist. It was both beautiful and terrifying, a mesmerizing sea of colors dancing around him that felt alive with spirits longing for freedom. "Welcome to your truth," the enigma of a figure echoed, now a swirl of flickering shadows, its voice a haunting melody. "Here, you will confront the echoes of your past." Ethan took in the swirling mists, gauging every feeling as memories rose like phantoms. He glimpsed Clara's sweet smile, stretching toward him like the first rays of dawn. But then, shadows clouded over them, the bitter fights, the moments of neglect, the distance he let grow between them. Those memories had living texture, suffocating and sharp that he gasped, despair washing over him like cold water. No, I didn't mean to hurt her. I thought chasing dreams was what I had to do. Did you? The shifting figure asked, its tone mocking, yet somehow mournful. What if your dreams cost her life? Is ambition worth it in the face of lost love? Ethan staggered back, grappling with the weight of those words. He felt the suffocating grip of regret. And then where had he gone when he should have been there with her? Clara had needed him, and yet he had been blind to her cries. Clara, he whispered, the name barely escaping his lips. The landscape shifted as memories coiled around him, becoming fraught with an electric charge that heightened the air. One moment Clara was laughing in the sun, and the next, shadows of anger and tears erupted, distorting her face. He couldn't bear it. I need to help her, he yelled, the tumult roiling within him. I will take responsibility for my mistakes. Just show me how to save her. Then give me your regret, the figure hissed, shadows swirling around like a hurricane, and I will grant you the power of redemption. A surge of defiance rose within him. If he was willing to risk everything for Clara, he had to accept the truth of his mistakes. His fists clenched tight, heart pounding. He closed his eyes and reached into the depths of his soul. I regret failing her. I regret turning away when she needed me most. I own this. The figure paused, the shadows whispering, swirling around Ethan as if hungry for his confession. Release it, the voice commanded, echoing across the shimmering landscape. Let it devour you or set you free. Surrendering the anguish felt like dropping a heavy weight, allowing the pain of the past to spill out of him. He felt weightless for an instant. Then the grief punched back, deeper than before, wrapping around him in chains of sorrow. His heart constricted, but he persisted. I abandoned the regrets. I will bear the truth. A blinding wave pulsed through him, and echoes erupted from the depths of his soul, a violent storm of emotions, righteous anger mixed with guilt, love resting against despair. Take it. The figure shrieked as the shadows swirled tighter around Ethan, absorbing his anguish. Suddenly, Clara's face flooded his vision. She shone like a beacon amidst the storm, her expression resolute. Ethan, don't forget me. Your love is what will break this curse. I promise to fight for you, Clara. I will never let anything stop us again. He shouted, voice locking in a pact across dimensions. With one final surge, he felt the darkness lift, shattering the chains that bound him, their clanging fading into a sweet, resounding peace. And just like that, light poured in, almost blinding him, but it felt pure. When the brightness faded, he stood at the cemetery, his breath a quickening rhythm, and Max at his side. Ethan, you did it. Max gasped, glancing around excitedly. I felt the energy shift, like something monumental just happened. Clara, I can feel her, Max. She is here. He turned, searching the shadows, hoping to catch sight of her ethereal figure. Where? Max asked, glancing nervously around. Just wait, she'll come. As the last vestiges of darkness retreated with the fading shadows, the air began to shimmer again, and then there she was, appearing from the mist like dawn breaking through darkness. Transparent, yet glowing, her vulnerable visage held an expression of hope. Ethan, she whispered, you came for me. I'm so sorry for everything. He choked out, a lump tightening his throat. I didn't see you, not until it was too late. I'll never make that mistake again. Please, forgive me. I never wanted you to chase dreams that didn't include me. But I've waited for you. Our bond is stronger than fate. She reached toward him, a beacon glowing brighter in the dimness of the cemetery. I will never let go again, he vowed, pulling her hand into his as warmth enveloped them both. As the shadows melted away into whispers, acceptance poured through him, flooding his chest, dispelling the remnants of darkness like morning light. All around the cemetery, the wind carried cries of release, soft melodies echoing through the trees. Clara looked radiant standing beside him, her eyes shining with the promise of new dawn while old sorrows faded into the past. Let us go home, Ethan breathed, clinging tightly to her hand, the weight of fear banished, free in the newfound light. And as they stepped forward together, the cemetery behind them returned to whispers, solemn yet sacred, a space honoring what had been lost, now stirring with the pulse of endless hope. Now, you need to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to grab every exclusive story coming your way. Smash that like button now so we can make sure this video gets seen. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. Let us hear your thoughts. And wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this conclusion, too. Your support means the world to us, and only true fans know the importance of taking these actions.